Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Storytime. Today I'm going to tell you a story called How the Camel Got His Hump. It's a story written by Rudyard Kipling, and it's part of a collection of tales called Just So Stories. Maybe you're familiar with some of the other stories in the book, such as The Elephant's Child or How the Leopard Got His Spots. Well, Clarence is with me here today in the tent camp, and Clarence is one of the camels that live in the library. Clarence said to me, "Miss Michelle, you tell a lot of stories. Why don't you tell one about my family? I want to hear a story about camels." So today we will. Many, many years ago, when the world was young, man and the animals were there and they were starting to learn how to work together. Mankind and the animals worked together in the woods, by the sea, in the forests, in the towns, and in the villages and farms. They had to work very hard because the world was new and there was much to do. Everybody lived together with one exception. There was an animal that chose to live by himself in the howling desert. The desert was called the Howling Desert because there was many fierce winds and dust storms and sandstorms, and it was very rough except for one area with an oasis. Do you know who lived there? What do you think, Clarence? Well, the person who lived there was a camel. Yes, Clarence, a camel. The camel chose to live by himself in the desert because he liked his life there. Every morning he would get up and he would slowly, slowly, slowly walk to the oasis, and once he was there, he would nibble on the milkweed, the grass, the thistles, anything that was green and yummy to eat. Clarence, I'm not a thistle, so please don't nibble on me. Can we enjoy this story, please? Okay, well, the camel would be there and he would munch and munch and munch. Okay, Clarence, we don't have any food for you today. Can you be a good camel and listen to the story? Well, he would munch and munch, and then he would go down to the oasis where the water was, and he would take a long, deep drink of the cool water and then look into the water and think to himself, "Look at me. Ain't I pretty? Look at these big round eyes. Look at my wonderful smile, my proud neck, my long, strong legs, and my thin body. Is any other animal as beautiful as me? I do not want to work. If I work, I will get all hot and sweaty. How beautiful could I be then?" And then he'd eat a little and drink a little and then settle down for a nap until it was time to think about his next meal. One day the camel had got up and he had slowly, slowly, slowly walked to the oasis and had just filled his mouth full of yummy food. And as he was chewing, he heard sounds. And he heard thump, 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 and along came a big brown horse galloping towards him. And the horse said, "Mr. Camel, how are you? I need you to help me." And the camel looked at the horse. He saw the horse was big and brown, and on his back was a saddle, and in his mouth was a bit. But you know what? The camel really didn't want any visitors. All he wanted was his food. So he chewed, and he looked at the horse, and he said, "Humph." He didn't say anything else. Humph was the only noise he made as he chewed. Boys and girls, can you help me? Can we go hump? Clarence, can you go hump? Humph, hump, 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 humph. Well, the horse tried again. "Camel, please help me help man. You can help him carry things. You can help give him a ride. Come with me now and help man make the world a better place." And all the camel did was say, "Hump, hump, hump, hump," and ignored the horse. Pretty soon the horse got mad, and he galloped back, and he told Man what had happened. Man said to the horse, "The camel didn't say anything at all. No, not a single word. All he did was eat and go humph." Later on in the day, as the sun rose high in the sky, along came a dog with a stick in its mouth, and it came up to Camel, who was eating his afternoon lunch, and said, "Camel, come with me. You can help me fetch things for mankind. Together we can make a wonderful world." The camel wasn't having any of this. All he did was reach down, eat something yummy, and go, boys and girls, what sound do you think he made? Hump! And he just went hump, 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 hump. The dog soon got frustrated, and he ran back, and he told Man what had happened. Later on, as the sun began to set and the sky began to get a little bit dark, Camel heard thud, 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 long, slow footsteps coming through the dunes. And over the top of a dune, there came a great big ox with a wooden yoke around his neck. And the ox said, "Camel, camel, come with me. Help me help Man plow his fields and grow yummy food. Together we can make this world a better place." But the camel wasn't having any of this, so he just ignored the ox, and with slow steps he went to the oasis in the water and took a long drink, and then settled down to sleep and totally ignored that ox. The ox was very mad. "How rude! I am going to go back and tell Man what happened." That evening, everyone gathered together, and Man said to the animals, "Thank you so much for helping me today, but I have some bad news for all of us. We've got a lot of work done, but if we had Camel helping us, we could do more. This means we have to work twice as hard tomorrow." The animals were not happy. All they did was shake their head and think about how Camel did not want to help anyone. The next morning, which was the second day, again, the dog, the horse, and the ox went to visit Camel, but all Camel could say was, "Hump, hump, 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 hump." And so it went to the third day. And this time, Camel didn't even bother to hump. He just pretended they weren't there. The animals were very upset. "For 3 days we have worked, and this camel is so lazy he's done nothing. This is not right. Whatever will we do?" And as they stood and talked together, they heard a whoosh, whoosh, and they looked up and they saw sand swirling and coming towards them. And as they watched, what looked like the huge sandstorm came closer and closer, and they said, "Should we run? Should we go for cover? What should we do?" But suddenly, that sandstorm stopped, and out of that storm there popped a man dressed in his finest clothes. Do you know who it is, Camel? Do you know who it is, boys and girls? Well, the animals didn't know either, and they said, "Hello, who are you?" And the stranger introduced himself. He said, "I am the king. I am the king of all the jinn who live in the desert. My friends, I heard you talking in very loud voices. Can you please tell me what the problem is? Maybe I can help you because I am a very wise king." Well, the animal said, "Dear king of the desert, there is a camel who lives in your desert, and he is the rudest animal in creation. He will not help man and us make the world a better place. "In my desert," said the Jinn, stroking his long beard. "How rude! He is one of my subjects. I value hospitality and courtesy, and all my people do too. I will have a talk with this camel." So with a whoosh, whoosh, and swirling of dust, the king of the desert Jinn came to the oasis where the camel, as usual, was sitting by the water, eating yummy milkweed and admiring himself in the water. The king of the desert Jinn said, "Hello, camel. How are you? I have heard much about you, and I would like to talk with you." And the camel barely looked up and said, "Humph." The king of the Jinn said, "That's all you have to say to me? I'm your king." "Humph, humph," said the camel. And the king of the desert Jinn said, "How rude. You should watch what you say, or this might be your last humph." The camel, who thought he was the most wonderful creature in the world, ignored the king of the Jinn. But, strangely enough, the king of the Jinn, unlike the other animals, did not get mad and go away. He sat there with his arms crossed and his legs crossed, scratching his head, trying to think what he should do about that naughty camel. Boys and girls, what do you think they should do about the naughty camel? Clarence, don't look at me. I'm not talking about you. You're a good camel. We're talking about one of your great ancestor camels, okay? And he is not you. So the king of the desert Jinn sat and thought and sat and thought. And suddenly he had an idea. And he said, "Aha." And he pointed at that camel. And the camel felt something scratching and itching on his back. And as he watched, a big bumpy thing appeared. And he said, "Oh my, what is this? What have you done to me? Stop, you're ruining my looks." And the king of the desert Jinn said, "Camel, I have a few things to tell you. First of all, we are all here to be one family and work together. You need to go out and go back and help man and the other animals." "But how can I work?" he asked. "You just put this big, ugly thing on my back. It weighs a lot and it wiggles and jiggles when I walk. How can I concentrate? How can I work? Whatever am I supposed to do? Change me back to my beautiful self and maybe we can talk about it." "Maybe you can talk about it," said the desert Jinn. "There's no talking about it. I am ordering you as the king of the howling desert to go help man. As for the thing on your back, you like the word humph so much, I gave you your own humph. Please take it off. Please take it off." "No, I won't. In fact, you were rude. You made people work twice as much for 3 days. So I thought very long and hard, and I gave you something special and unique. I gave you this hump. In this hump is all the food you need for 3 days. Do you know what that means, camel?" "No, I don't," he said. "It means you do not have to eat, and you can work much harder during that time." "Oh no, I can't eat! Whatever will I do?" "Well, if you think about it, you can eat and help man and your life will be good. But you must be like this from now on." So, dear boys and girls, this is the story of how the camel got his hump. What do you think, Clarence? Tell me. You think you like your hump, and you think your hump makes you beautiful? I think so too. And this is the end of the story, boys and girls. Thank you for coming for story time. I look forward to seeing you again. The end.